All right, welcome everybody to the May Steering Committee meeting. We're going to be jumping around a little bit. We had some things that didn't get printed, so y'all just have to bear with me if you don't mind. First thing I want to do is approve our minutes. I'll call on Vice Chair Pettis-Reed.
Mr. Chairman, I have read through these minutes. I haven't found any problems or any problems been brought to my attention, so I'll move for their approval.
I have a motion. I got a second? Second. Got a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Let's move on. Is there any public comments?
No, sir.
No one has signed up, so we'll move on. Next on our agenda is the ratification of private chapter number 47. We had voted on this earlier. What this is doing is raising the bid threshold to $50,000 for non-emergency, non-proprietary purchases, and that the required threshold for attaining 3 written quotes, which is currently $10,000, or 40% of the current bid threshold of $25,000, be increased to $20,000, 40% of the increased bid. So all we're doing is just simply raising this up. Y'all have already voted on this, but we had to get it ratified on the Private Act, so we'll have a 2/3 vote. So we need to have a motion to send to the County Commission as a recommendation. You'll have a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion, Commissioner Cush.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Rather. I believe we got to vote on this, don't we? All right, go ahead and do roll call.
Commissioner Cush,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed, Chairman Harris.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
All right, let's move on. You're going to hear from the lobbyist, Will Denabi, a report concerning, one of the things he's going to be talking about is the new bill that has been passed through the House and the Senate, has not been signed by the governor. Now, one of the things in here is that I had some concerns with is collecting this debt at the end. And I'm going to let Will, I'm going to let Will, come on up. Let's go ahead and let you answer some questions, and then we'll go from here to these letters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the steering committee. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'll just give you a quick update on the bill's current status. It was signed by the House Speaker last week. It's still waiting on signature from the Senate Speaker. Once that happens, it gets transmitted to the governor for his action, and the governor either signs it or it becomes law within 10 days of that action. So should become a public chapter in the next couple of weeks.
And explain the back end of this bill, the one that I have a concern with as far as how they changed up sort of like the guardrails that we had.
In terms of the way the collection's done, or in terms of the way the...
Well, what I'm concerned with is, and this is the reason I've done these letters, is that the bill is allowing the builder to go ahead and apply for permits even though he hadn't paid his certificate occupancy permit fee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the current status of Rutherford County and when this becomes law, there's a change that is put into place under the current law, and this was changed by Rutherford County by Representative Charlie Baum and Senator Shane Reeves, that allowed for a county to, by resolution, determine if you wanted to collect 50% up front at the time of the issuance of the permit. My understanding is that was the main catalyst that Rutherford County wanted in order to go under the County Powers Relief Act. The practice, I understand, is that most builders actually prefer to pay the full amount up front at the time that permit is pulled, and that is the current practice. Under this bill, that authorization for other counties that part has been removed, and it says it shall be paid upon the completion of the structure prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. So that's the way the language reads now. That was put into the bill, that has an effect, that will change when the revenue is received, and it's, something to think about.
Okay, I'm gonna keep Will up here, but I'm also gonna go and put letters to support the new adequate facilities. What I've done here, gentlemen, I've put it on your iPad, is I asked the city managers of Smyrna and Murfreesboro to help us in case of a builder not paying his bill, that they will also be and partner with us and not allow a certificate of occupancy until all county bills, all county fees have been paid. So I have 2 letters here in support of that, from Murfreesboro and one from Smyrna, and it looks like the one from Smyrna didn't get put on your iPad. I'm going to read this real quick. It says, Commissioner, this communication, this is from Smyrna, is to confirm that it is the policy of the town of Smyrna building codes to require the receipt of the Rutherford County School Facilities Tax prior to a certificate of occupancy to be issued. This has been our practice over the past. However, this letter is to affirm our commitment to continuing this policy. So these are for your review, for you to look at before I send to the full commission, which we'll do that in a later date. But I just wanted to let you know that the back part of this bill concerned me, and if it becomes law, this is me trying to get out front and try to help us collect money and not get caught with people pulling permits and not paying their fees. Does that sound about right, Will?
The law says it must be paid upon the completion of the structure prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. And I think your consideration of how that process would change is a smart thing to do, to think about that.
We're also talking to CUD, to where CUD is talking with their attorneys right now to where they'd hold a water meter if they don't pay their bill. So that's the things that I'm trying to do, is just trying to keep us, getting our money. We're already going to be waiting a year or 4 to 12 months, so we want to make sure we get paid. And the cities are with us on that. Anything else, Will? Any questions for Will?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes, thank you. It's really not a question. This bill is not law, and we, as a commission, will not delve into the structure of that bill until it actually becomes law. And after it becomes law, I've asked our county attorney, I've asked our lobbyist, Will, and I've asked the mayor's office, Eric Hennessy, to do a thorough examination of that bill, the long-term implications as it relates to Rutherford County, before we, as a commission, get into the discussion through the steering committee first as to what that, as to when we enact that bill and when it goes into effect. We've been chugging along the way we have for so long. I see no urgency in rushing into a bill that we don't have a thorough understanding of that before. We, as a commission, have been criticized in the past by passing something without really studying it and having known the long-term implications of that bill. And so we'll move deliberately through the summer, and we'll give that bill, if it's passed into a law or when it's passed into a law, a thorough evaluation before it comes to the steering committee for us to act on it. So it might take a month or two, but we'll get to it.
All right. Any questions for Will? Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, there's also something on the agenda that did get put in. We have a Judicial Commissioner to be appointed and approved by us. And I would like Mr. Crimson, you'd like to come up and tell us a little bit about yourself? Doing, sir.
Good to see you.
See you all.
Yes, good to see you. I've seen some of you a couple of years ago when I was on the trail, and I'm Andre Christman. I grew up in Bedford County, Tennessee, and Have been in Murfreesboro off and on since coming here to go to MTSU back in fall of 1996. I'm favored today to have members of my family here. I have my brother, Larry Christman II, my nephew, Joseph, my sister-in-law, Carissa, my uncle, Uncle Fred, who is my late father's brother, Melissa Gilbert, who is a family friend, and we thank God for her. My wife, who is just the jewel of my eye, and I thank God for her, Crystal, and then our two boys, Andre II and Caleb. And so they're my family. I've been practicing attorney. This is my 20th year as an attorney, this coming up November. I've served almost 15 years as attorney with Legal Aid Society in various capacities, first as a staff attorney for about 4 years. Then I served as managing attorney of the local Murfreesboro office for about a little more than 8 years. And then I was promoted to the pro bono director for the entire Legal Aid Society firm, which served 48 counties in Middle Tennessee and the Cumberlands. I've served also as I had an unsuccessful run for office, for juvenile court judge. I got a chance to meet a number of persons in the community. After that, I did some contract work for an organization called TALS, which is Tennessee Alliance of Legal Services, that provides on a contract basis services to seniors. They have a call-in line. They also provide educational support to the other 4 major legal aid programs in the state of Tennessee. And then I did a little stint with the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, first serving as an unemployment hearing officer, and then I was promoted 4 months into the job to be a chief appeals hearing officer. And in that role, I supervised some 14 other hearing officers, and we handled appeals all the way from Kingsport to Memphis. I was fortunate enough to be chosen by the General Sessions judges to be the Senior Judicial Commissioner, and if there are any questions, Mr. Chairman, to the committee, I'm open for those.
Well, I've been a chairman for going on 7 years, and it's the biggest support I've ever seen for a judicial commissioner. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there any questions for Mr. Crimson? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve Mr. Crimson.
Second.
I have a motion from Chairman McAdoo. I have a
Second.
second from Commissioner Beverly. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right. Commissioners, on your iPad is a list of litigation. Is there any questions concerning this list? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Next is our HR report. Ms. Stevenson? Okay.
Whoops, sorry. So you should have on your iPads, let me make sure it's on there. Yes, it is. So the first one is the snapshot, and that's just an outline that I give every month about the highlights of what's going on in our department for the month. For ADA, we've had 8 different interactions. Those could be from court settings to providing signage or translations. Personnel changes, we've had 28 this month. Those are primarily promotions and transfers, not demotions. Our next is audits. We have scanned all of our active employee files, and we have literally audited all 1,972 files within this last month to make sure that they were scanned properly and titled properly so that they could be uploaded for our departments to use. So that was a pretty big task for this month. Benefits, we've had 14 different activities, with the largest one being TCRS retirement applications. We had 7 of those this month. Community involvement, we've had 9 different activities. Those could be anywhere from job fairs to mock interviews to meetings with local agencies within the county. And those are not just done by myself, those are done by all the employees in our office. The next, we had 31 participate in an event. We had a leadership event. Mayor Carr and all of his departments, we met with them. There was 25 in attendance for that. Leave, we've had 137 different activities, 98 active FMLAs right now. We have 26 active military leaves as well. Legal services, we've had 8 different categories, and those could be anything from us investigating an employee concern to unemployment hearings. Offboarding, we had 22 resignations or separations for the month, and we had 3 retirees. Onboarding, we completed 118 salary evaluations. Those could be from anybody who was newly hired to somebody that was being transferred or somebody being promoted or demoted into a position. Policy changes, we reviewed 19 job descriptions and created 6 new job descriptions this month, so we had a total of 26 activities. Promotions and activities, these are things that we offer as promotions to our employees, whether it be from a local business, a local bank, Nashville Shores, any of those type things. We have 15 of those this month. Recruitment efforts, we had 1,096 activities this month, which included applications received, referred, declination letters, interviews, job postings, reference checks, and other items. Reports and surveys, we had 480 this month, with the majority of those being open records requests. We had 211 open records requests. We had 113 Title VI requests, and the Title VI requests are, the majority are for the courts. Those are individuals who need assistance because they've got a court proceedings and English is not their primary language, and so we provide interpreters. But we have background checks and verifications of employments and other items during the month. Special projects, we had over 2,120 special projects this month, and some of that social media, different activities that we did, whether it be recruitment outreach, budget preparation, any of those activities that go into the special task. Evaluation and testing, we had 161 of those, with the largest being our pre-employment drug screens and our random drug screens. We also test for TB and other items that are needed for their positions. Title VI, specifically for the language, was 113. And then for our training, we trained 281 individuals on business ethics, drug-free workplace, employee handbook. We also had some department-specific leadership training that we conducted, sexual harassment training, and Title VI training as well. So that concludes my report on the snapshot for this month. Are there any questions about this?
Are there any questions? All right.
So the next item on your iPad should be, get back here. Oh, I just lost it. Should be job postings and applicants. That should be on there. And what this tells you is the number of postings that we've had by department this month. So as you see at the top is ambulance service. We've had 5 separate postings for them. And then if you look at the box to the side, that was when the posting was created, how long it was up, and how many applications that we received for that particular posting. Some of our biggest applicant pools has been the fire department. They got 23 applications. Public media specialist for Paul's got 10. OIT's tech support got 20. But then you also notice that we had a couple of positions that we haven't received applications for yet. So we continue to try to recruit with these activities. I will tell you that we recently were invited by the Tennessee Career Center out on Old Fort Parkway, and they held a job fair specifically for bilingual people. So if they speak 2 languages fluently, they were having a job fair specifically for that, and we went and we received several applicants for that position, for that job fair. And so we were pretty excited, and we have opted to participate in that again. One of the items that I handed out, are there any questions about that, the job postings and applicants? Okay. The next thing that I gave you last that I printed was the full-time vacancies, and I'm sorry it wasn't on your iPad, but I was trying to give you the most up-to-date as of today. So this tells you by department what vacancies we have, how many vacancies for that department, and then the specific titles. It'll also tell you in the vacancy date column at what point that position became vacant or will become vacant. So this just lets you know what we're trying to recruit for on a daily basis. And that's just for your knowledge. If you know somebody who's looking for a job, to send them our way. That concludes the report. I have one other item to add, and I don't know if you want me to move forward. That is about a couple of updates to the handbook. So that's, do you want to?
Let's vote on your, make a motion to approve. All right, got a motion to approve. Commissioner Beverly, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, go ahead.
So the next sheet I handed out, we had no longer gotten it approved from the county commission until there was a couple of things that came to light. And so myself and Nick and Eric went back and reviewed a couple of items in the handbook. So before we roll it out to the employees, we wanted to make sure that it had these few corrections. So on this page, you'll see there was some grammatical errors, a period, there would have been a space between a period or some formatting issues. We cleaned up that. But these specific items on page 8 of the handbook that we had before, the EEOC policy, the only thing that was changed is we just updated it to say the protected category or classes designated by the state and federal civil rights laws. And this just kind of gave it in case there were any changes in the future that they would automatically be covered by this handbook. Page 12 was the drug-free workplace. There was a paragraph in there that was stated in the paragraph. It had some bullet point items, and basically it was a reiteration of 2 paragraphs before, and so that was a redundancy and was removed. Also for the drug-free workplace, there was some language about if there was a negative dilute that it would be observed, and so we don't know when those will be observed. The medical review officer determines that, so we just put may in there just so that it would fit in compliance with the handbook. Pages 21 and 22, because it was a bleed over, there is some language that is required by the TBI and FBI whenever we do background checks on employees, and we had a separate acknowledgement form, but it was determined that we really needed to have it in both places. So what is required by TBI and FBI be in the handbook, but also on the acknowledgement form, just to make sure that we're covered in both ways. Page 31 was about the employee appearance. And one of the things that was in there was about those individuals who have ear gauges that they wear in their ears and what happens if they don't wear those. And so it was suggested that they wear buttons or something to cover those holes from the gauges. And then the other was that the body art, if it were to be on the neck or the face, that it would be covered. Under page 34, the work from home policy, there was just some adjusted wording. It was kind of unclear to some, and so the wording was changed to say for a period up to 3 consecutive weeks, and that way it just streamlined it and there was no confusion. For the on-call policy, there was some questions about when does the on-call start for those individuals who are non-exempt, and so the language we changed it to say is if the non-exempt employee on call works in a public safety department driving a county vehicle that utilizes lights and sirens for emergency response situations, he or she will begin their paid work time once they are in the county vehicle responding in an emergency response situation while using lights and sirens. So that just says, if you have been called on call to come in, once you are in pursuit of that, that's when your time begins. Another thing was added while we had leave policies as it relates to maternity, paternity leave under federal and state laws. There was a new Pregnancy Workers Act that was implemented earlier And while we had it in our other policy, we felt like that it would be best that if we had it stated specifically as it was in there, instead of just add it in the maternity and paternity. So this is the language, and I won't read that language to you, but it's just setting up that if we have a pregnant worker, that they're, to be treated fairly, they're not to be retaliated, and what the law allows for those individuals to have. So those are the items that were specific updates, and we're asking for those to be amended in the policy handbook we approved at the last month.
Okay. Nick, do we need to vote on this, or?
Yeah, I think so, because this will be sent along to the commission, and I'll work with Sonia to get a resolution together to give them, to get on the commission agenda for approval for the updated handbook.
So we're approving these new items? in the
Yeah, you don't
handbook?
have the
Okay.
actual red line document or whatever, but these are a summary of them.
I have a motion Chairman Reed, second? Second. Commissioner Rather? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
All right, last thing is I need to announce 3 vacancies for the CCRC Board of Directors. Term expires July 1st, 2024. Is there any other business?
I have one comment. I guess I'm getting older. I had to Google just a few seconds ago what an ear gauge is. So now I know what an ear gauge is and understand the actual change. So I'm going to admit my ignorance on ear gauges.
If there's any other business, we are adjourned.